All right, let's start lying down, please. Okay. So when you're ready, if you could just come onto your backs, and we're going to just start. Blue, if you get into your bed. Blue, bed. So if you could just start, if you have a block and a ball handy, that would be great. Slightly interchangeable. No, Blue, don't do it. On your bed. Nice. Good. So we're going to start lying down. We're going to do a little bit of movement into your lower back to begin with. Quite a lot of movement into the lower back to begin with. And then some strengthening in the back will go on later. A bit of shoulders and some twisting with balance work. So it's quite a lot. I'm quite ambitious in my hour. So what I'd like you to do is to begin with, just settle your body. So your knees are bent. If you pick up your hips and then just try and lengthen your lower back down the mat, and then pick up your shoulders and try and creep your shoulders up the mat, releasing the head upwards if necessary. And then do that a couple of times. I always think it's a bit like a caterpillar. So you're just going to creep down, creep the lower back down by lifting the hips and just inching, well, millimetre yourself down. And then lifting up the shoulders, take the shoulders up and just notice if your head moves a little bit or has to move. So 2-3 times we'll do it, and then you should feel that you've achieved a really nice long spine position. The hands can be somewhere on the abdomen or on the rib, on the hips, it's fine. And then we're going to start to move the knees from side to side, but in a very small way. So all I'd like you to do is, if you feel like your ankles are slightly locked, so as you take your knees over from one side to the other, the feet are moving with the legs. So you're going onto the edges of your feet. And just as you do this, not very fast, just taking the knees from side to side, start to sense into the back. So you're letting the pelvis move. It's just rocking from side to side. And the knees are coming up, and then the knees are going over. And once you get used to the movement, what I'd like you to do is to start to increase it, so that then you take the knees so far that you can actually feel the twist coming into the back, but just the beginning of the twist coming into the back. So just keeping the shoulders super relaxed and just twisting there from side to side. Keeping the feet, you're rolling onto the edges of the feet. Introducing a pause as you go over to the side now. So it's just a little pause, and then you come up to the middle, and then you go over to the side and you pause. So it is early in the morning for most of you. So just see how things feel. Starting to put even a little bit more into it. So you can press into the opposite elbow to the direction that knees are going to increase the twist or the release in the back. So you're just moving your hips further forward, increasing the space between the shoulder and its hip. So just going, so pressing into the opposite arm, as long as it feels okay. Just doing a few more rounds of this. It's just a really nice way to start. Whether you're doing this in the morning or on record in the evening, just notice how it feels. The next time you go over towards the left, what I'd like you to do is to stay there. So you take the knees over to the left, just lightly pressing into the right elbow. Just stay there for a moment. So just working into that side line on the right side of your body. And then relax from that. Take the knees up and then take the knees over to the right. And again, lightly pressing into your left elbow, just to take it a little bit further into the twist. Keep the tailbone long. And then make your way back into the middle. If your feet need adjusting, which they probably do, just adjust the foot position. So your back, semi-supine, feet roughly hip distance apart. Hands resting on the tummy. Start to settle the breath. So your eyes are closed and we're just going to settle the breath, breathing into the abdomen. So as you take an inhale, feel the belly rising. And then as you breathe out, allow it to fall. Again, breathing in, the belly rises. And out, the belly falls. Just a few more there, breathing in. And out. Again, breathing in. And out. Trying to find our hollowness in the tummy. So breathing in. And out. Start to breathe in, but this time arch your back, tilting the pelvis forward. And then as you breathe out, flatten the back and tuck the tailbone. So it's very much about the journey along the lower back. So inhale to arch, tilting the pelvis forward. Exhale to flatten, tucking the tailbone. Again, inhale to arch, tilt the pelvis forward. Exhale to flatten. One more time, inhale to arch, tilt the pelvis forward like a big yawn, and then flatten the back, tucking the tailbone. Come back into a neutral spine position and just stay there for a moment. What I'd like you to do is you're going to gather the knees in towards the chest. It's going to do a tiny bit of core, tiny. So bring the knees in towards the chest and then place the hands on the knees. Not on the knees, sorry, on the front of the thighs, just above the knees. Lifting the shins up. So if you now take an inhale, and then as you exhale, press your lower back down into the floor. Lightly begin to press the hands into the thighs and the thighs into the hands. Just hold steady there. So it's all about pressing the back down into the floor, lightening the hips, lightening the shoulders. Holding still for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then bring the knees to the chest, please. Let's rock from side to side. And then come back into the middle. Just going to do that once more. So it's in its simplest form. Hands on the thighs, lift the shins up. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, press your lower back down into the floor. Press the hands into the knees and the knees into the hands. It's all about the back pressing down into the floor though. If you can get a sense of lightening in the shoulders without tension, and then lightening in the hips, again without tension, that'd be great. And then again, relax the knees in towards the chest. Lower the feet down to the floor. Now, I'm just going to creep my body up my mat because of the dog. I don't want to hit him in the face. So just make sure you've got a little bit of space for your legs to straighten. That's all I'm saying. So legs to straighten. So your knees are bent at the moment. And then what I'd like to do is you're going to bring it in. This is new. So you're just going to bring in your left knee and just hold it very lightly. So it's not super in towards the chest. It is just really basically set above your hip. And then we're going to straighten the right leg along the floor. So just see that that feels okay. And then try and get a feeling of releasing your lower back down into the floor as you lift up your right foot. So the holding of the left knee makes this easier. Now if you can't release your lower back down to the floor, what I'd like you to do is just to come out, and you're going to get one of those balls or a block, and you're going to put it underneath your lower back. So that will make it easier to lift the leg up. Okay, so you can have a ball in the base of on the back of the pelvis, or a block just to tilt your pelvis. So it's just to elevate the pelvis. If you're feeling strong today, I'd like to try it with the back flat on the floor, however. So I know I'm giving options. Just have a go. This is your test, just to see if you can keep your right leg lifted and your lower back on the floor in this position. If you can't, I'd like you to put a block underneath your pelvis or a ball to elevate the pelvis. Okay? So you're holding there, so set yourself up holding there. Press your knee into your hands lightly. So the left knee into the hands lightly. Press your lower back down into the floor and hover your right leg off the floor. Okay? So everyone should be in this position now. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to move your right leg. So what I'd like you to do is to turn the toes inwards, the right toes inwards, and then just move your right leg slightly, not massively, over towards the left, and then return it back to toes facing up, and then the opposite. So now you're going to turn your right toes outwards and then track your right leg out to the side a little bit. Return back to the middle. Again, turn your right toes to the left and then just try and move your right leg over to the left. Come back into the middle and then turn your right toes to the right and track your right leg to the right. And then begin to make that a little bit more of a flow. So your toes go to the left and your leg goes to the left, and then your toes go to the right and your leg goes to the right. Just do it a couple more times, so just very low, tracking the leg left and then right. Left, the toes leading, and right. One more, left and then right. Return back to the center, hover there, think about your lower back, holding another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now lower your right leg down to the floor, let everything relax there, and then you're going to go into a twist, so bring your left leg over to the right. So recline twist, nothing to do with the right leg at all, you're just stretching your back. So recline twist, shoulders flat on the floor. And then make your way back into the middle. Excuse me, so back into the middle. Now, take your left foot to the floor and bring your right leg in. Again, this is very light holding of your right knee, and then extend your left leg. So that's your start. And then just have a little test. So you're pushing your right knee into the hands, and then you're going to lift up to hover your left leg. If you can't keep your lower back down on the floor, come out and put a ball underneath or a block underneath the back of the pelvis, just to elevate the pelvis and make it easier. So you're going to lift up that left leg, your back is pressing down into the floor, and you're pressing lightly your right knee away. That will also help. And then turn your toes, your left toes, to the right, and then track your leg to the right. And then turn your toes to the left and track your toes to the left. So your leg is going from side to side, but with the toes leading the way. So you're moving your hip. Is it going right, going left, and then to the right? Not a massive movement, going to the left and then to the right. So you should be able to feel the hip moving. Keep the back on the floor, back pressing down into the floor, and just turning your toes. Let the toes lead the way so that there is a hip rotation. Do another 3, 2, and 1. And then come back into the center and hold. Back pressing down into the floor. Another 3, 2, and 1. And then lower your left leg to the floor. Just let the body relax for a moment. And then let your right knee go across to the left for a reclined twist. So just moving the leg, stretching the body, left shoulder, your right shoulder, both shoulders are on the floor, particularly that right shoulder is grounded. And then you're back in the middle again. Bring both knees slowly in towards the chest and just notice how you feel. So it's just a little bit different. It's core but with hip mobilization. So rocking from side to side. And then you're going to come up. We're going to go straight into cat pose. So coming up and then make your way onto your hands and knees, please. So once you're on your hands and knees, really ground your fingers. So spreading the hands, making sure that you feel that you can really feel that connection to the stickiness of the mat. Shoulders directly above the wrists, and the knees directly below the hips. Push down into your hands, lift between the shoulder blades, take the chest forward. Just notice how you feel. As you exhale, tuck the toes round the back, chin to the chest, stretching the back. And then inhaling, coming forward. And again, exhale, tuck the toes round the back, chin to the chest, really stretching the body. Inhaling forward. And again, tuck the toes round the back, chin to the chest, stretch, 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 stretch. And then coming back into that middle space. Now what I like to do is a little side bend here. So, but it's not going into child pose. You're just going to move in cat pose. So start to shorten the left side of your waist, slightly looking towards the left as well, and let your right side go long. So the right shoulder and the right hip are moving away from each other. The left shoulder and the left hip are coming towards each other. And then come back to the middle and then try the other side. So shortening the space between the right shoulder and the right hip, lengthening between the left shoulder and the left hip. Let's do it once more. So come back through the centre. Try that left side bend. So shortening the left side, opening the right. Back to the middle and then shortening the left side, stretching, opening, lengthening the left side. And then come back into the middle and just take child pose for a moment, but child pose in a lengthening way. So sit back towards the heels. If you can't get back down on your heels, slide your hands forward until you can feel a really good stretch in your back. The head can be on the floor or it can be off the floor. So don't force it down. If it's naturally gone down to the floor, then let it be there. But my head today is not on the floor and it's fine. You just want to feel length in the spine. So breathing into the back, breathing into the side of the ribs. We're going to start to move your hands a little bit wider so that then you can come forward into cobra. So looking towards your knees, inhaling, coming forward. And then dropping your thighs, your hips, pushing into the hands. And then track your gaze forward. See how it feels? It might be much lower. Your hips might be higher. And then picking up the hips, rounding the back as quickly as you can, sitting back on the heels. And then again, inhaling. So looking towards your knees, coming forward, nice and slow. That's it. And just see how it feels. Good. That's it. Opening up into the chest. And then lifting up, rounding the back as quickly as you can. Take yourself back. Let's do it once more. Inhaling, coming forward. Just see how things feel. Find a comfortable cobra. So engaging into the core, length into the lower back. And then look over your right shoulder. And then come back to the middle, look over your left shoulder. Come back into the middle and then lower your chest down to the floor. And just stay there for a moment. So you lower yourself down. And just move the hips from side to side. Good, we're going to do the movement of the shoulder. keep moving down my mat, but the movement of the shoulder where you take your left arm forward, you support the head in the right hand, and then you start to lift up the head and the chest. So you begin there. If it feels okay, lift up your right leg. If that feels okay, lift up your left arm. Either stay steady here or take your left arm out to the side. Roll the shoulder forward, bending the elbow. Start to take the arm up the back and see if you can touch your right shoulder blade or come into that direction. If you can't, you could be just taking the hand to the lower back, it's fine. And then you release the arm out. It's just the direction of movement, taking the arm forward and then drop down. Let the right arm go forward now. So you're resting down, but then you lift the head. You lift up the chest, you lift up your left leg, lift up the right arm. And just stay there for a moment. If all is well, you can stay there, or you take your right arm out to the side. Begin to roll your shoulder forward, bending the elbow, and then tap the shoulder blade, releasing the arm out to the side, taking the arm forward, and then drop down, letting your left arm go forward again. So you relax for a moment. We're only going to do it once more on each side. You relax, and then you start to lift up again. So that diagonal line, right leg, left arm. Take the left arm out to the side, rolling the shoulder forward. Can you tap your right shoulder blade with those left fingertips, lifting the chest up, take the arm forward, relax down, bringing your right arm forward before you release. So you're ready to go, and then you lift up the head and the chest, left leg and the right arm. Holding, and then take the arm out to the side, roll the shoulder forward, tap the left shoulder blade with the fingertips, take the arm out to the side, let the arm go forward, and then rest, but this time stack your hands, forehead rests on your stacked hands, and just move your hips from side to side. So then what I'd like you to do is to come into locust pose. Again, you could, however much you lift is whatever feels comfortable for you, but start to lift up the head and the chest and both legs. If that feels too strong, you lower yourself down or you rest completely. Now hover the hands off the floor, take the arms out to the side, taking the arms to parallel, squeeze your shoulder blades together. So it's just traditional locust pose, holding here, lifting the chest, lifting the legs, holding. And then start to sweep the arms out to the side, taking them forward, just bending the elbows so that hands can stack, and then release down, and again move the hips from side to side. And then we'll do that once more, but possibly interlacing the hands. So again, these are all its options. So lift up the head, lift up the chest, lift up the legs. Now that might be where you stay and you don't do the arm movement. If you found it hard last time, just give yourself a break, just stay here, work at strengthening the back. If all is feeling fine, lift the arms up, take the arms out to the side, either take the arms to parallel or interlace the fingers and then squeeze your shoulder blades together. If you've got the flexibility to do it in your shoulders, can you press your palms together, squeezing your palms together? So you draw your chest forward, lengthening both the chest forward and the legs back as you hold and breathe, palms together if possible, but don't worry if you can't. And then relax down. As you relax down, take the arms out to the side, cushioning the head as you rock from side to side. And then relax for a moment and don't do anything. Just relax the back. So what I'd like to do is come back into cat pose, just to stretch your back. Not cat pose, child pose. Take the hands underneath the shoulders, lifting up, transition through cat pose to child pose, possibly toes tucked, but see how things feel. Just stretch the back for a moment. And then maybe release the feet. So coming onto the fronts of the feet, dropping down, and just rolling the shoulders, loosening the back. You don't have to be still, you can just move the hips from side to side. What I'd like to try and do is to take a slightly bigger knee position. So if you let your knees go a bit wider, ideally you want them to stay on your mat just for comfort, and then take your arms forward. So you're in a wide kneed child pose. So relaxing down, see how that feels. So your feet are together, the knees are wide. So just letting the hips open. Just try and give it a little bit of time there, really relaxing into the hips. And then come up, walk the hands in, otherwise it's really difficult to get your knees back together, and then bring the knees back to being parallel. Come onto your hands and knees. So now you're in cat pose. And what I'd like to do is just a little, before we come out to standing, I just want to do a little bit of twisting in this cat pose. So we're going to twist into an open twist and then a closed twist. So if you have your right hand on the floor and then your left hand on the base of the spine, you're going to push down into your right hand and the right shoulder and then twist. So you're twisting away from the floor, away from your right hand, twisting towards the left. That's it, it's an open twist. And then drop, well, come out of that, but stay in the same position. And then you're going to do it again. But this time, either stay here or you can take the arm up into the air. So you're holding there, keeping the hips steady there. That's it, lovely. And then your left arm is now going to go behind your right hand to come into the traditional cat twist, where you drop the shoulder down and you come onto the side of the head. And just stay there, pulling the tummy in, length into the lower back, and breathing. Keep pushing your left shoulder down into the floor. And then come out. Do a couple of cat stretches, so drawing the chest forward, tucking the toes around the back, chin to the chest. Inhaling, coming forward. And again, exhaling, tucking the toes around the back, chin to the chest. One more time, inhaling, coming forward. And then exhaling, tucking the toes, rounding the back, chin to the chest. Come back into that middle space. Now, if you now let your left hand go slightly into the center, your right hand goes to the base of the spine. Push into your left hand and then twist. So you're twisting towards the right, just noticing how that feels. And then you look down. And then you do it again. So push into your left hand, twisting towards the right. Either stay here or take your right arm up into the air. But you don't want to be sort of pushing your hips forward into this. You want to try and keep the hips steady. So the twist is coming, it's not from the pelvis, or minimally from the pelvis. The twist is coming into the back. And then take the hand down, dropping your right shoulder. You could be on your forearm. If it feels too tight and you can't get down onto the shoulder, it's fine. Be on your forearm. And then just twisting there, but pull the tummy in, length into your lower back. And then push into your left hand to come back up into cat pose. Draw the chest forward. So 3 times cat stretch. Draw the chest forward. Tuck the toes around the back. Allow the chin to come to the chest. Again, inhaling, coming forward. And then exhale, tuck the toes around the back, chin to the chest. Inhale, come forward. Now, what I'd like you to do is to come into downward facing dog, but really smoothly. So tuck the toes around the back, chin to the chest, hover the knees, and then super slow, lift your knees up away from the floor, pressing your chest and your shoulders towards your thighs. Once you're sort of in that full shoulder extension, start to alternately bend the knees, just stretch the legs. See how things feel, so alternately bending the knees, stretching out those calves. Just a few more stretches there, maybe releasing both heels down, so now you're still. If you want to, if you prefer, you keep moving the legs, but just see how things feel. And then what I'd like to do is to rise up onto the balls of the feet, lower your knees down to the floor. Now we are going to be kneeling for a moment, so if you need to pad your knee, it will be your left knee that you would put some cushioning under. So what I'd like you to do is you're in your cat pose, you're going to extend your right leg back behind, draw the knee in towards the nose, pushing into your hands, and then extend the right leg, bring the knee in towards the nose, pushing into your hands, knee to the nose, take the arm and the leg away, not the arm and the leg, just take the leg away, bring the knee in, so knee to the chest, and then try and push into your hands, drawing the nose towards the knee as well. Take that leg back. Now you're going to step the foot forward. So if you take your right hand slightly in towards the middle, so there's space on the outside edge of your mat for your right foot. You're going to bring that knee in and then step it forward. Creep it forward if you need to, and then bring your hips forward. So it's lizard with your left knee down at the moment. So see how that feels, drawing the chest forward, and then shift your hips back, not going too far, just into a gentle stretch in the right leg. And then again, come forward, so you're bending your right knee, drawing the chest forward, and then move your hips back. Working your right leg towards straightening. Again, coming forward, draw the chest forward, and then move your hips back. Hold for a moment. So with this half split, with the position of the hands as they are, you can lift up the toes away from the floor on the right leg, possibly. You can turn your right toes outwards. These are all options, but you may not want to do them. So just see how it feels. If you can, it's quite an intense stretch, but it's also a very good stretch. And then relax out of that, but bring your right foot back into the centre. So just creep it back into the centre so that when you come forward, you're more in a lunge that you would recognise as a comfortable lunge. So, and then lift up. So both hands are on that right knee. You're going to lift up. Use your right hand underneath. Use your right hand just to lift your chest up away from the thigh. So bringing your shoulders above your hips. And then take your left arm forward. You're going to reach the shoulder, from the shoulder, reach your left fingertips forward. So your body is slightly twisting towards the right. And then pull the shoulder back, retract the shoulder back so you come back upright. So you might feel familiar on this one. And then you're going to reach your left shoulder forward, twisting naturally. Let your body twist towards the right. And then pull the shoulder back. So now the next time you take your left arm forward, let your right arm go back if it feels okay. So you're in this low lunge in a twisted position. And then take your right arm forward and then take your left arm back. So now you're in, it's like you're doing warrior two. We're going to do this standing in a moment. So now you're warrior two, but think about this, the left shoulder. I'd like you to try and move your shoulder blade towards your spine. So you're retracting or sort of plugging the shoulder in towards your spine. Take your left arm forward one more time. Right arm goes out to the, goes back behind you, but reach your left fingertips forward. So you're stretching that left arm forward from the shoulder. Right arm goes forward, left arm goes back. Now try and sort of shorten the space between your left shoulder, or engage your left shoulder. Draw it in towards the spine as you do that funny little stretch. Bring that arm forward, take the arms up, take them into a nice circle. Take the arms forward and up, out to the side and back. So a big sweeping circle, one more time. Up, out to the side, back and down, fingertips to the floor. Shift your hips back, take that foot back, and then please rest in child pose. So just let your shoulder, obviously we'll do it on the other side, so let your shoulders settle for a moment. So it's a lot of it, it's surprisingly, it's easy shoulder work, but also it's quite strong shoulder work. So we're back on our hands and knees. Make sure that if you need padding, it's the right knee that's going to be padded as you take your left leg away. Inhaling there, and then as you exhale, bring the knee in towards the nose, and then take the leg back, extend it back. Again, bring the knee in towards the nose, pushing into your hands. Take the leg back. Knee in towards the nose. Take the leg back. Now this time, you're going to step the foot forward. So if you just hop your left hand into the center a bit more, so then you can bring your left knee in towards the chest and step your left foot forward. Help it if it's not quite there. And then draw your hips forward. So try and keep a little bit of a connection between your left knee and your left shoulder. Just be aware of that if you feel it's drifting out, not massively, low level. And then move your hips back, coming into an easy half split. And then you go forward again. So releasing the front of your right hip as you take your chest forward. Good. And then you move back. So, but again, you're not going into the full range of your flexibility here. You're just sort of poking around it, let's say. So draw the chest forward. Now this one you're going to hold, so you go back, starting to take the leg a little bit straighter, but see how things feel. If this is already quite intense, I would suggest that you don't need to move. If you want to explore it, you can put the foot forward, left foot goes slightly further forward, allowing you to lift the toes off the floor and flex the foot. And then you also have the option of turning the toes outwards. Just breathing there, so folding down over the leg. Well, so you're on the inside of the left leg, but you're folding forward. Hamstring stretch. Now, if you relax out of it, but walk your left foot into the centre. So once it's there, it's settled into the centre. Bring your hips forward, and then take your left hand and then your right hand onto your left thigh. So drop the hips a little bit forward, and then it's going to be your right arm that goes forward. If you now reach your right shoulder forward, right arm, right shoulder forward, and just allow the body to twist a little bit. So you're twisting, so it's shoulder and twisting. Shoulders, right shoulder moving away from the center. And then pull it back. So just plugging it back in. And then go again. So you reach your right fingers forward. Try and feel that movement of the shoulder blade gliding across the upper back away from the spine. And then pull it back in towards the spine as you retract the shoulder back. Now we're going to add on. So you reach your right fingers forward, stretching the shoulder blade away from the spine, and then take the left arm out to the side, so then you're in a lunge twist. So, but you're not thinking about the left arm, think about the right arm reaching forward. Bring the left arm forward. Now take your right arm back, so you're in this warrior two, but in a kneeling position. But think about it's your right shoulder I'd like you to think about. Try and move the right shoulder in towards the spine there. Bring the right arm forward, reach it forward, and then take the left arm back. But just think about the right shoulder there. So the right shoulder is reaching away from the spine. Take your left arm forward, and then your right arm goes back, and you're trying to plug your right arm in, right shoulder in towards the spine, in towards the center. Bring that arm forward, take the arms up. Take the arms out to the side, back and down. So forward, up, back and down. One more time, forward, up, back. Once you're down, you are down. So come back onto your knees. Take child pose again, relaxing there. So take a moment of rest, then we're going to try it standing. It's almost the same, but then we're going to be thinking about the foot rather than thinking about the shoulders. So what I'd like to do is to come up to kneeling with the hands just in front of your knees, and then make your way up standing. So standing forward fold, shaking out the legs, and just hang there with the chest resting on the thighs, taking hold of your elbows, moving the head freely. A couple of breaths there. Take the hands to the base of your spine and start to lift your chest up. We're up, right. And walking towards the front of your mat. And just stand there for a moment. So if you stand with your feet hip distance apart, and your eyes closed. Now if you have got one of those balls nearby, I'll just move it out of the way. So just standing there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to flow. It's the same movement but in a standing position. So it's warrior one going into a warrior twist, going back to warrior one, going to warrior two. Okay, that's all it is, and we'll be moving the back foot. So what I'd like to do is you're going to lift up your left knee. We're going to work with the right leg first. So lift up your left knee, coming into a standing, single leg, standing knee raise. So the left knee is raised, your arms are up into the air. Now you can either transition with your arms out to the side to step your left foot back, or you can take the hands into prayer position, which is a little bit more challenging, on your balance. So you lean your shoulders forward slightly. It's all stuff we've been doing recently. You bend your right knee, and then you extend your left leg back until the toes connect to the floor. Stretch your leg back and then drop the heel. So the heel is turned slightly in, and then from there, with the right knee bent, you should be in warrior one. Extend the arms up, warrior one. So we're going to go into the twist first. So if you've got your right knee forward, you're going to be twisting towards the right. So all I'd like you to do is to begin, lift up your left heel, squeeze your upper thighs together, so the twist is coming in, and then spread your arms out. Think about your right shoulder and try and move your right shoulder into the center. Come back into the middle slowly, so you take your gaze forward, drop the heel down, so warrior one, And then lighten the ball of your left foot, moving the toes out as you take the arms out to the side in Warrior Two. And just think about that right shoulder reaching forward. Try it again. So you have to transition to Warrior One. You're going to move the ball of the foot to come into Warrior One. And then you pick up the heel of the back foot, just a little bit. And then you can move into this Warrior Twist position, squeezing your upper thighs together. Last time, lift the arms up, drop the heel, so you're in Warrior One, move the back foot to allow yourself to go into Warrior Two. And just notice how that feels. It's just a slightly different approach to these standing positions. Drop the arms and then step forward. And just stand for a moment with your feet hip distance apart and your eyes closed. So we're going to do the same thing again on the other side. So hopefully you should be able to feel what was going on there in the right shoulder. So it's shoulder work. So if you now lift up your right knee and take your arms up. You're more than welcome to do the transition with your arms out to the side for balance, or take the hands to the heart center in prayer position. Lean your shoulders forward as you start to super slowly take that right leg back, bending into your left knee, and then set those right toes down on the floor. So you're in crescent pose sort of, but then you're going to drop, take your right heel down to the floor so that then the arms come up and you're in Warrior One. So holding Warrior One. Now pick up your right heel, just to hover it, it's not massive. Squeeze the upper thighs together and then take the lunge twist, Warrior Twist. That's it, good, it's lovely. And then you drop the heel as you take yourself back to Warrior One, hips facing forward, and then transition, move the back foot, the ball of the foot outwards as you go into Warrior Two. And think about that left arm reaching forward from the shoulder. So left shoulder moving forward, and then you're going to again transition to Warrior One. So the ball of the foot has to move in, and then you lift the heel to go into the twisted warrior position. Think about your left shoulder pulling in to the center. Drop the heel, lift the arms up, transitioning through Warrior One, and then move the back foot to Warrior Two. And then from there, relax your arms and step forward. And just notice, so we're going to do a ragdoll forward bend just to relax the arms, or not relax the arms, but give the arms a rest. So if you come into a forward fold and just twist your arms or spin your arms in their sockets with the head hanging. So you're just turning the arms. Let the back stretch for a moment. Just turning the arms so your wrists are moving, the hands are spinning round. And then just hang there for a moment, taking the hands to the floor. And then come down onto a knee. Come down onto the other knee, and now you're back in child pose, please. That's it. Good, so just resting there for a moment, not very long. So give yourself a small, brief rest. And then coming up to kneeling, just walking your hands in. And then what I'd like to do is just to shift yourself onto one of the hips. It doesn't matter which one, because then you let your legs go forward. Now with the legs forward, Keep the feet quite far forward, but take the feet together and the knees wide. So that's omega pose, where you have the diamond shape between your legs. And then really slowly, again, super soft on the shoulders. Just relax yourself down. Just seeing how that feels. So letting the head track towards your feet. Breathing there for a moment, not for very long, just a few more breaths. So letting a little bit of softness come into the side of the back. And then just coming upright for a moment. So coming upright, but pull the feet in, or you can inch your bottom forward. Just making your way slowly into a Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. So the feet are together, make sure that the heels are level with each other. If you can't quite get into as deep a pose as you would like, use the hands behind you, just to lift and create lift in the spine, and then you can lift your bottom off the floor and slide it forward. So just trying to hold there so you can have the support of the hands behind you, lifting the chest so nice and straight in the back. And then the other alternative is to hold on to the ankles and then lift there, lift the chest up. So just holding steady for a moment, not for very long. And then you bring the knees together and just wrap your arms around the legs, dropping the head down. So really releasing into the shoulders and the neck. And then we're going to go onto our backs. So what I'd like to do is just to scoot yourself forward for a moment. And then if you would like, you could have a ball. You could have a ball underneath the pelvis in just a moment. So lie down on your backs, bringing the knees in towards the chest, and just rock from side to side. And then just come back, so really slowing things down, come back into the centered position. And then let the feet go to the floor, arms alongside the body, tilt the pelvis forward, and then come up into bridge. So your feet are hip distance apart, you've got your back arched, and then begin to flatten the back, and then slowly, slowly float your back up away from the floor, coming up into bridge. Doesn't have to be very high, and then roll your back down. Try it again, so inhale to arch, and then lifting up slow and steady, pushing it into your arms a little bit stronger on the second time up, and then down again. One more time, inhale to arch, and then lifting up, push the feet down, interlace the hands, come up onto the outside edges of the shoulders, lifting the hips up nice and high. Push your feet down to lift the hips up, holding that. And then release the arms, roll your back down to the floor. So if you find your ball, just place the ball in right in the center of the back of the pelvis. If it feels unstable, you could always use a block. We're just staying there, relaxing the back down onto, or the back of the pelvis down onto the ball or a block. And then with your arms on the floor, bring the knees in towards the chest, and then either stay there, so it's a nice stretch for your lower back, or extend the legs up into the air. And just stay there, so the legs are hanging. Try and sense that the legs are actually above your hips. And then just be aware of the micro, if you are on one of the balls, just be aware of those micro movements, the little adjustments to try and keep the balance. Relax the feet, no tension in the knees. Just staying there, so it's nice and easy. We did quite a lot today, so just taking time to rest. So this is Vipariti Karani. It's called the Great Rejuvenator. It's the simplest, it's one of the more restorative of the inversions. So it's a really good way of just seeding in your practice, settling, coming into the breath now. So the other option you have if you are on one of the balls is you make your arms a little bit, or take your arms away from the floor so that you're narrower. You could have your hands, quite a good place, it's a bit awkward to put the hands anywhere. You can have the hands just resting gently on the thighs, and then that challenges your balance even more. So eyes closed perhaps, legs up in the air, balancing on a ball. So just a few more moments of stillness here, noticing how it feels. So you could be on a block, you could be on a cushion, you could have your legs resting against a wall, you could be on one of these balls that challenges your core and your balance. And then start to bend the knees, drawing the knees in towards the chest. So again, if you have chosen to be on a block or a ball, the knees come really nicely in towards the chest with the pelvis lifted. So enjoy that stretching into your back. And then release the hands, taking the feet to the floor. Once the feet are grounded, again give the weight of the pelvis to the floor or to the ball. And then lifting up off the ball or the block, if you did use one. And then take yourself down. Resting the back of the pelvis down on the floor. Just a few breaths there, so without any particular agenda, just breathing, semi-supine, noticing how you feel. Scanning the body from the head all the way down to the toes. Just observe shoulders, the back, the legs. Bringing the knees in towards the chest. Rock from side to side. And then either roll onto your side to come up to sitting, or rock forward and back and come up to sitting. And just see, just notice again, how do you feel? We're just sitting. So we did shoulders, clearly, but obviously we did shoulders. We did the spine, the hips, the legs. So just noticing, how does it feel now? Allow the chin to drop down to the chest. Keep the spine nice and elevated though. Hands come to the heart center in prayer position. Press the palms firmly together as you blink your eyes open, and then lifting up the gaze. Well done. Namaste. Okay. I think that was all.